Hey church, this is Vince Miller. Thank you so much for joining me for another devotional. Today we're going to be in John chapter 19. I'm going to read verses 6 through 7. It reads, when the chief priests and the officers saw him, that's Jesus who's brought back out after this flogging, they cried out, crucify him, crucify him. Pilate said to them, take him yourselves and crucify him, for I find no guilt in him. Then the Jews answered him, we have a law. And according to the law, he ought to die because he made himself the Son of God. Guys, the undercurrents in John's account here are thick with political interest. I want you to picture the scene now. Jerusalem is bustling and overflowing with Jews from all over the empire who have come to celebrate the Passover. And Pilate, the Roman governor, knows this influx brings potential unrest. That's why he's there. The city's atmosphere is charged because, well, these moments were always like a powder keg waiting for the slightest spark to ignite unrest. Now, being a governor under the Roman Empire's rule, I'm sure was a challenging feat for Pilate, especially during these religious festivals. Pilate wasn't just any governor. He was actually just a simple cog in a vast imperial machine, answerable to Rome's regional kings and also to the emperor himself. His primary duty was this: keep the peace of Rome, the Pax Romana. And the Roman aristocracy expected him to do this. Every move and every decision balanced on this razor's edge between political interest and potential unrest. All the time, that's what Pilate had to deal with. Now, knowing all this, the Jewish leaders keep pushing their agenda back at Pilate. They're suggesting that Jesus is involved in treason. And only Pilate in their region had the actual authority to administer capital punishment. And they wanted Jesus gone because, well, Jesus was a threat to their religious authority. So they spun this narrative about him being a traitor to Rome to force Pilate's hand. Yet Pilate wasn't easily fooled. He knows that none of this is true, and he didn't want his hand forced. He recognized the shell game. He also knew that Jesus was no traitor, that he was innocent. And he had hoped to appease the Jewish religious leaders with the flogging and the customary Passover pardon, but it doesn't work. Pressure begins to mount, and now the crowd is chanting louder and louder, crucify him, crucify him, crucify him, which led to the potential for a riot looming and unrest on the horizon. Now, guys, we all face moments just like this when we teeter between succumbing to political pressures and standing firm on a greater truth. I mean, for example, how many times have you stood on the edge of pressure from colleagues at work to do something questionable and then had to choose between being loyal to a company or voicing your ethical concerns? Or how many of you have been a father and you had to decide between an important work meeting and a pivotal family event, right? That one pushes you one way, the other pushes the other. Or how about this? How about upon learning about a friend's wrongdoing, you stand on the edge between saying something or being silent? We've all stood on the razor's edge between each one of these decisions. Yet in these decisions, the issue is more than just about who to appease. It's about recognizing the truth and having the courage to act upon it, regardless of the consequences for you or someone else. And most men won't do this because they cower to the loudest voices in the crowd, because they are louder, after all, and they're scared of all the fallout. So when you have to walk that razor's edge, can I encourage you to do this? Stop being a coward and being afraid of all the fallout in the crowd. I love you guys. I pray this has blessed you. If it has, share it with someone else. And I'll see you right back here, hopefully, again, tomorrow.